It was a chilly October morning in Waverley, a sleepy town nestled between cornfields and backcountry roads in Iowa, when the news spread. Rebecca Holloway, a beloved local nurse at Waverley Regional Medical Center, hadn't shown up for her morning shift. At first, it didn't seem alarming. Becca, as everyone called her, was known to work herself to the bone. A day off would have made sense. But by noon, when she missed 2 patient rounds, didn't return texts, and her phone rang straight to voicemail, unease began to settle like fog over the town. That evening, Sheriff Lane Caldwell stood in front of the Holloway residence, a modest brick bungalow off County Road 9, staring at Becca's Toyota Corolla, still parked in the driveway. Her house was locked, but inside, her phone was on the kitchen counter, next to a still warm mug of coffee. A set of scrubs was neatly folded on the couch. Her wallet and keys were gone. It looked like she had planned to leave, but never made it far. To outsiders, Becca Holloway had the picture-perfect life. At 32, she was well respected, known for her kindness and tireless work ethic. After moving to Waverley 5 years earlier from Des Moines, she quickly became a fixture in the community. She volunteered at the church, organized blood drives, and even ran a small book club out of her home. She was the heart of this town, said Marge Doyle, a retired librarian and Becca's closest friend. Everyone trusted her. She just made people feel safe. But as investigators dug deeper, cracks began to form in the image. Her neighbors mentioned arguments late at night, muffled but frequent. She was dating someone, one said, a guy who came and went at odd hours. His name was Ethan Caldwell, the sheriff's own nephew. Ethan Caldwell, 37, was a contractor and known around town as charming, but unreliable. He had a string of failed relationships and a DUI from 2 years prior, but nothing that screamed dangerous. Still, when Sheriff Caldwell realized his nephew was involved, he removed himself from the case and handed it over to Iowa State investigators. Ethan admitted to dating Becca, casually, he insisted, but claimed they hadn't spoken in over a week. His alibi for the night of her disappearance was weak. He said he was home, alone, watching reruns of Deadliest Catch. There was no one to corroborate it. A search of his home turned up nothing, until a blood-stained scarf, later identified as Becca's, was found under a pile of insulation in the garage. Ethan was arrested for suspicion of murder. The town was stunned. The case seemed closed. But things didn't add up. A break came when Becca's laptop, previously thought to be missing, was recovered from a pond a mile outside of town by a teenage boy fishing with his grandfather. Forensics pulled up a series of encrypted emails and digital journals, written under a pseudonym, Ella Thornwood. Becca had been living a double life. In her private writings, she spoke of fear, not of Ethan, but of someone she referred to only as M, a possessive, manipulative presence. He watches everything, one entry read. He knows where I go, who I talk to. I thought I could escape it here. Investigators traced the emails to a burner account linked to a private practice in Des Moines. A therapist named Dr. Martin Ames, Becca's former counselor and, it turned out, former lover. Dr. Ames had no official record, but co-workers described him as charismatic to the point of being unsettling. He had been placed on administrative leave the year Becca left Des Moines, but details were sealed. Under pressure, Ames cracked. He confessed not to murder, but to obsession. She was everything, he told investigators. She didn't belong in that backwater town. I just wanted her to remember who she really was. Ames had followed her. He had broken into her house more than once. On the night of her disappearance, he admitted he confronted her, but claimed she panicked and ran. I didn't hurt her, he repeated. She was just gone. The confession lacked one thing: a body. A month after Becca's disappearance, a hunter spotted movement near an old storm shelter in the woods 20 miles outside Waverley. Inside, investigators found Becca, cold, dehydrated and bruised, but alive. She had run from Dr. Ames the night he confronted her, crashing her car in the woods and hiding in a forgotten shelter from her childhood, a place she and her brother used to play. She was too afraid to return, believing Ethan had been involved, especially after seeing his car pass by more than once. Her blood had been on the scarf because of a nosebleed days earlier. She had left it at Ethan's while staying over. His only crime was being careless and unlucky. Dr. Ames was charged with stalking, breaking and entering, and unlawful surveillance, and is currently serving a 12-year sentence. Becca eventually returned to work, though on reduced hours. The town's relief at her return was tempered by a sobering realization. Sometimes evil wears a familiar face. Sometimes trust is broken not by violence, but by secrets. And sometimes the person you think you know best is a stranger, even to themselves. The Waverley community still talks about Becca Holloway, not just about her disappearance, but her strength. "She's a survivor," Sheriff Caldwell once said. "But more than that, she's the reason we look closer now, ask more questions. Because the truth, it doesn't always come easy. And in small towns, secrets echo louder than screams."